and welcome to episode 60 of the Gaslec podcast. And thank you very much, Steve, for listening and for watching if you are on Spotify Premium and on our YouTube channel as well. This week's episode has sort of really been born from something that happened to me last week, and I'm going to go through that on this episode here, a little bit of giving to the universe to get back. I'm going to be talking about all the charity bits that we do that I don't often talk about, so I'm going to be completely open book and I'm completely honest with you guys and talk about what we do here at Gaslec, and maybe one of our sort of superpowers for us being so successful in what we do. But first of all, here's my friend Sean to tell you a bit more about the podcast. Are you a new person coming into plumbing and heating? Are you a homeowner that likes a bit of DIY? Or are you a business owner and want a bit more knowledge before you make some decisions on your plumbing and heating? Stay tuned to the podcast and hopefully we'll be able to help you out with some of your questions. Hi folks, it's Sean here from Gaslec with episode 60 of the podcast. I hope you've been liking our little ornaments we've had up on the side there. I like to change them up. I get my little deliveries from Temu, so they're not that expensive. They're not the greatest of quality, but I do like to mix it up each week. And in putting up their episode 60, it just reminds me of where we are. So when I record the next one, I change it over so I never forget the number. So people say, well, maybe it's for them. Actually, it's for us on this side. Just makes it a little bit more simple because I'm not that clever after all, be honest. So this week's episode, we're going to be talking about kindness. And actually in this industry, whether you're doing plumbing and heating as we do here, or whether you're doing electricals, or whether you're doing plastering, or whether you're doing any of the trades, we're a service-based business. And we're actually going into people's homes and we're dealing with people at different times of their lives. And we have to sell ourselves. And there are some people out there that go in at a different angle and have a different mindset. But I really want to talk to you about my mindset. And there was something that happened last week that really sort of did jolt really about where we come from, or where I come from, and the culture within Gaslec. So I've got some bits up on the old teleprompter here. So we deal with people that in their own homes, they're stressed, they're going through different parts. They may have no heating, leaks on boilers, boilers packing up midwinter. But it's where we get the chance to be the most kind. And it doesn't always mean doing the job well. It could mean that we just do the little extras, explaining things a bit more clearly. I've done it before. I've done a little video and put it up onto YouTube as an unlisted video clip, and then sent them the link. I'll do that quite often actually, so they can go back, or their family members can go back and they can see the little video that I've done for them, how to operate the controls or to their heating system. Obviously turning up when we say we will. We've got some new software which really is helping us with that, and I've done it before where I've made a cup of tea for someone that's a little bit sort of stressed within their mind. Taking your shoes off at the door. Some cultures, it's a cultural thing as well, and they really do respect that. When you do it before they actually ask you, they might find it a little bit awkward to do that as they've just met you. But over the course of time, I've learned the simple truth: when you give more than you take, life gives back. And it's a little bit university, a little bit woo-woo, and all the rest of it. But actually, it makes perfect sense. When you walk down the road and you're looking for something, and you're looking for money, and you're a little bit hard up, you think, oh, if I had another quid, I could buy that. And you look down at the floor subconsciously and you'll start finding little coins. When you buy that red Ford Fiesta, and that's a bit of a joke over the weekend between me and Mrs. Gaslec, all of a sudden you're seeing little red Fiestas everywhere, and all the other cars sort of fade into oblivion, but you're seeing them everywhere. And I really do think sometimes when you open up your heart, you open up your eyes, and you will receive back. And sometimes, we've had customers that we've done a job and it's not gone right, and we've put our hands up in the air, we've admitted what's gone wrong, there it all is, this is where we've gone wrong, and we're going to learn from it. And do you know what? They've actually turned out to be some of our greatest customers because we've been honest and truthful with them right from the get-go. I believe in the energy you put out matters. And if you're putting into your day grumpy, cutting corners, chasing for the big buck, you'll feel it. But if you show up with honesty, kindness as a mindset of helping others, your work will flow smoother, your phone will ring, and the team gels better together. I've seen this in our business. I've seen it in trades. Kindness isn't weak. It's actually a really, really smart thing to do. So here's my challenge for the week. Whether you're a plumber, an office worker, a business owner, or just listening for the crack of it, try doing the unexpected act of kindness. No strings, buy a coffee for someone, let another drive in, offer a bit of advice to a new apprentice, and you'll be surprised what will come back to you. So if you've got a story of being kind and it's paid off, drop us a message and I'd love to share it on a future episode. So I don't often talk about it, but I'm going to sort of lay it all out here in this episode of the podcast. So here at Gaslec, we have a yearly budget that we set aside for charities and goodwill gestures. It's about 1,500 quid a year. It started off at about 1,000 as we got a bit busier and businesses picked up. We've gone to about 1,500 quid, and probably next year we'll be at 2,000 as a round number. It's not set in stone. Sometimes we don't quite achieve it. Sometimes we go over on it with bits and pieces that come along, but it's not a problem at all. And I really do believe that when you give out, you will get back. So every year there's a local community picnic up on the estate where I live in the top of Gillingham. And the local residents have created a little committee and they get together and we have a big picnic on the banks, it's called, up in Darland. And every year they have a different charity that they're collecting for. And this year's going to be bowel cancer. I'm not quite sure where it's come from, but no doubt we will find out a bit closer to the time of the reason why that charity's been selected. So we sponsor the event, we pay them some money, and that helps go off towards the stuff they've got to pay for, some insurances and through the council and some fencing. A lot of the stuff's donated, but obviously there is a bit of a cost to this as it goes through. So we help towards that cost. And then we'll have a big bucket of sweets. I get a builder's bucket, a brand new one, of course, and we get some little packets of sweets for the kids. And we fill the buckets up, and then someone will go around handing them out to the children during the course of the afternoon. So yeah, all little pre-packaged ones with the ingredients on and all the all the allergies on there as well, because I don't want to fall foul of any of that, and anyone gets poorly from me giving out some Haribos or whatever it be. We also sponsor a cricket club beer festival, and we sponsor that as well every year, which is great because they do different sort of charities and what they do there. There's a couple of children's-based charities that we've mentioned before. Openly, Holding On and Letting Go and My Shining Star, which are two children's-based charities here in Medway. And this year we gave away some really big Easter eggs for them. We had to buy them, and we gave them to raffle off, and then the money they received from that, obviously that went into their funds. So I do a few little personal bits as well, and even my wife don't know about this, so I'm sharing it with you guys. But I do know my wife don't even watch this podcast, so she'll never know about it anyway. So anyway, if you know my wife and you hear it, don't tell her I do this. So a few weeks ago, I was at a service station, and I was at a Subway, obviously getting a diet salad, as I always do. And there was this young lad there, and he was in the army. You can tell he had all his greens on. And his colleagues were sort of getting back into the bus. I must have been off training or something. He was just in front of me in the queue. So I said to the guy, I'll cover this. So yeah, sort of buying them a bit of lunch. Yeah, for them, they earn what they earn, but obviously they do put their life on the line. So, he was taken back a little bit surprised by it all, but I was like, mate, it's not a problem at all. You pay it forward one day, just remember it, and there we are. And quite commonly, I'll do this for ambulance drivers. If I'm in a chip shop one evening, getting the family a bit of a takeaway for the weekend, and some ambulance staff come in for their refs, or some police staff as well, I'll do that as well. I'll buy their little bit of lunch or their little bit of dinner for them, because I know that they have to take their breaks sitting in their work vehicles. The fire brigade tend to go back to the station and have a big cooked dinner, but the police and the ambulance aren't always that fortunate to be able to do that for them because they're so much more busier. So, what I'm trying to say is that doing these little bits and pieces, giving out to the universe without expecting the return back, it really does work. And I truly believe in that. Now, I don't believe in the universe and Mother Nature and all the rest of it. I don't believe in that. But I do believe in the power of the subconscious mind. And actually, when you give out, you will get back. And that's the same as investing into the team as well. I don't like calling people staff that work for us. I don't like that. We're one big team together. I just pay the bills ultimately and take all the risk. But we're one big team. Anyone can talk to me. They all know where I live. They've all got my phone number. They've all got my personal number. And they can knock on my door any time of day or night. If they want to chat, if they want something they want to go through, not a problem at all. They need a bit of emergency time off. No, talk to me. Absolutely fine. We'll take care of that. But I really do believe that, when you give, you will receive back. And certainly in this day and age, there are so little people that do that. And you hear it in the plumbers, merchants. And they're all a bit cocksure and they're all like, yeah, I did this, I did that. Little old lady over there, I took 300 quid off her for 20 minutes. And they're all sort of bragging about it and how funny it is. And I really do believe that karma does come round on the little bus as it comes through. And obviously in the winter time, we give our team the power of discretion. So if we turn up to somebody and they clearly don't have a lot and we can get something up and running for them, sometimes we'll say to them, the invoice will be on the email and we never send it, because I think sometimes it's so people will appreciate it a lot more if we say, we're going to turn up and they're expecting to pay for something and we don't charge them. But if they're expecting it for nothing to start with, there's a lot more expectations on what we do. So I like to do it that way round. So there's the cost. There we are. We'll be out and we'll take it care for you. We'll take care of it all for you. And actually, then we don't send them the invoice. And we've had people chasing us up. We haven't paid for this. We haven't paid for that. And do you know what? Absolutely fine. It's on us this time. But bear us in mind for next time, or if you recommend us to your friends or family, that'd be absolutely great. And it really does go a long way. So last week on a situation, which is the big prompt for this episode, really. So I don't have the permission to talk about the person's name or where they work or the industry they work in. So I'll keep this really generic and really, really open, as we say. Excuse me. So I've met this lady before, and she's a manager of this little business. And she's always, how you doing? She's not very tall. She's actually quite small. She's not even 5 foot. And she's all, how you doing? How's the family? Been on holiday? God bless you. She's a very sort of spiritual person. You can hear that in the way she's always asking about you and wishing you all the best, and hoping you're having a lovely time. And I saw her again last week for another little job. And I said, how you doing? You're all right? And she's there. How's your family? Are you well? Have you been on holiday? What you been up to? And she had a lot of energy to give. And then I had to do what I had to do, got it sorted. I won't say what I did because it might give away what I'm doing. And then as we left, I was looking around for it, found her. I said, all done and dusted. And she went, thank you very much. And I said, you okay? And I just said that, you okay? I saw her eyelids drop. I thought, she's not. I said, and I've got to be careful here because it's going to set me off again, because I walked out the door crying my eyes out, and I'll be truthful on that one, and I'm not ashamed to say it. And she said, my husband's not well. And she must be a whisker over 30. So I'd imagine her husband's a similar age as well. He had a COVID injection and got an infection at exactly the same time, which attached itself to his immune system. And now he's at home on a hospital bed. So he was a fit and active person before, I won't say what he did for a living. And now he's in a hospital bed at home. And she works all the hours that she can to try and build some money up to do some physio, to try and give him that better of a chance of his existence at the moment. Excuse me. So she works all day in this busy environment. Then she comes home and she's a full-time carer for her husband in the evenings. And then she said she's found a little lump and it's cancer. But the cancer treatment, because she's got kidney failure, the cancer treatment was aggravating that. So she's had to stop the cancer treatment, which is obviously not great. And now she's waiting for an operation to have the cancer removed. And then she's going to have time off work, and obviously not being able to do the caring role for her husband as well that she's dealing with. And that really did affect me, that someone that was so generous with their time and with their energy was going through so much. And I stood there and I couldn't hold it back. And she said to me, "I'm sorry that I've made you upset." I said, "Don't be sorry." She said, don't worry about me. She said, there's people out there with in worse situations than me and my husband. And someone that's been just so humble, it really did take me back. And I can't say what we did, but I did do a little something for her, which I'm not going to go into. But just hopefully that will help a little bit for her as well. So, and that was really how humble she was. With, I presume it's a power of her religion and her faith, whatever her faith is. She does mention God all the time. So I'll just jump to the conclusion of Christianity. But really, that person there is an amazing person, absolutely amazing. And she doesn't, is not from around this way, but I'd love to bump into her in a restaurant and buy her dinner one day, be honest, and her family. And I really do hope that everything does change for her, and she is blessed. So moving on from that, which is actually quite upsetting, actually, seeing someone like that. But yeah. So last weekend, so on a more of a positive note, I've got a bucket list item, though. I'm sort of getting on for nearly 50 now, and I do love my adventures. Whether it's off with the boys on the motorbike somewhere in Europe, tramping around in some far-flung corner of a country, seeing stuff that's very difficult to explain to others if you've not been there. One of my little things was I'd love to watch the sunrise in the east and watch the sunset in the west. And we live down here in Kent, and for us over in Kent, it's over Broadstairs, Joss Bay way. So on Friday night, I booked into a little hotel, me and Mrs. Gaslec, a little bit closer, and was up at 2:30 in the morning on Saturday, the 21st of June, which is the longest day of the year, as we know. So then we made our way to Joss Bay, as they had a little bit of an event going on at 4:00 in the morning. And we got there and we walked down to the beach and we sat there. And we was watching the tide ebbing and flowing as nobody else is watching it. And some other people started turning up, and they're all stand-up paddleboarders, and they all got into the water. And we watched the sunrise, which was an amazing event, and it was lovely. And so about 4:30, getting on for 5:00, we got in the car and we started driving towards Land's End. Now, I'll put some pictures up on my social media, so it's not a big secret on that. So on the way down, Mrs. Gaslec didn't know that I'd done a little surprise stopover, and we stopped off at a place called Gold Hill in Shaftesbury. And this is where the Hovis TV advert from the late 70s was filmed, with a lad pushing the bike up the hill with the bread in the front. And we turned up just in good time, and it was empty, and took some lovely photos. And you have a look on my Facebook page, you'll see him up there. And then we had a little bit of breakfast up on the cafe at the top of the hill, and it was absolutely lovely. The 303 was shut at Stonehenge because all the, I'm not sure what you politically call the people that go up there, the Druids or whoever they are, were up there doing their bits and pieces, and they closed the 303. So we went down and through, and then we went down into Newquay. And I went down there and I'd done a bit of snorkeling down off Newquay Beach on one of the little coves just down from the main, the surf area there. The surf area was really quite busy. So I ticked a couple of bits off. Then we made our way down to Land's End, booked into a little apartment block thing there in the Last Inn, which is the pub there. And then we watched the sunset down at Land's End in the evening, which was about 9:30, sort of 9:45. It was a little bit hazy on the horizon, so you didn't physically see it dropping down below the water. But you got a good view anyway, and it was lovely. So that was one of my bucket lists. I've always wanted to do that. And every time we go, oh, we could do that, it's on a Wednesday or on a Thursday. And of course, if we want to do it again, I'm going to have to wait for another 6 years for it to fall on a Saturday. So it was a really convenient time. And I said to Mrs. Gaslec, we're doing it. Are you going to come with me? Yes, I am. Let's get going. And I didn't realise actually how far Land's End was. You think you're nearly there, and then it's another 3 hours. It went on and on and on. So then we come back on the Sunday, and it was absolutely amazing. So it was a lot of driving, but there we are. So that's it for this week's episode of the podcast. So keep your tools clean, keep your pressure balanced, and keep your mindset set to kind, and send it out to the universe, and you'll get it back in bundles. Take care. Thank you very much. Goodbye.